Greetings and salutations, good friends. What the fuck did I just watch? Oh, I know. I watched Hellboy, the wonderful and fantastic new remake, reboot, whatever of the Hellboy franchise, starring David Harbour and directed by a child. What the fuck did I just watch? I mean, really? I'm just dumbfounded by this movie. I had no idea. I mean, I did, but I didn't. I had some idea. I have seen a couple reviews from some other people, some credible sources, two of which stand out for me. One of which being Angry Joe, the other being Chris Stuckman. Two opinions who I do hold very dear, and I listened, I heard, I understood. But there are just some things that you have to experience for yourself. Now, when you hear a movie is bad, and I mean like really bad, it ain't worth seeing in the theaters. But for some of us, especially those who really enjoyed the originals of anything, when you hear that it's been remade, there's a very strong part of you that you just know at some point or another you're gonna see. It's just gonna happen. Now, whether that's in the theater or in the comfort and safety of your own home is dependent on how good of a review that you hear. And I am so glad I didn't waste any more money than I already did on this pile of dog shit. I would say demon shit because that could be considered clever and funny and interesting, but that would be giving this movie way more credit than it deserves. This movie sucks. And I mean it sucks. And it just sucks on multiple levels. And one of those levels being it sucks because it didn't need to. It could have been good. I don't know how. It had potential. The effects are okay. They're good, kind of cartoony. But that kind of cartoony look goes throughout the whole movie. So you could argue that was the theme, the style, the tone, whatever you want to call it, that they were going for. So you can let that kind of thing go. And there was some creativeness, some creative imagery here and there, albeit hellacious. But hey, with a character named Hellboy, you have to come to expect that, right? Where this movie completely shits the bed is everywhere else. And I mean everywhere else. As much as I enjoy seeing practical effects, really good makeup, as well as some decent, but like I said, cartoony CGI, as good as seeing all that is, it's not worth it to see this movie. The story's all over the map. The acting is just... It seems like the actors, at least, are trying. Maybe if this movie had a better director and a better story, it could have been better. But as is, avoid this movie like the fucking plague. I mean, if there's a choice between this and the plague... Well, okay, this, because the plague sucks. But even then, it's a real close choice. I loved the first... Okay, loved this a bit much. I really enjoyed the first Hellboy, starring Ron Perlman. The second one I do love, because it's clear that Guillermo del Toro took his idea for Hellboy and his most recent experience with making Pan's Labyrinth, and then combined the two to make Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. And I thought it was really damn good. I don't know why it wasn't as well received as it should have been, because it had a lot going for it. Really good special effects, even better practical effects. And this movie came out, the second one especially, came out, in like... A lot's going through my mind right now, because I got to get this out right here, right now. But I think it came out like maybe minimum 2010, maybe 2008. I don't know. But it's 2019. Let's just go out on a limb and say 2018 when this movie was made. And it looks like this? I have done some research, but from what I've read, I haven't come across any real solid reason as to why they couldn't just make a third movie of the original series. It would have made a lot more money than this did. I knew this movie was going to be dead on arrival, though. I just knew it. Not just because it was a remake. Remakes come and go. Sometimes you get a good one. Sometimes you get a bad one. Most of the time you get a bad one. But here's the thing that told me we were in deep shit for this movie. And there were two reasons. Number one was the tagline that I saw on posters for this fucking film. You know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. And you'll remember until the day you die because it's so fucking stupid. Epic AF. Hellboy. Epic AF. You know, I may not be a big fan of text lingo or abbreviations or whatever you want to call it, where you just use the letters instead of the whole word. I'm not the biggest fan. Just fucking say it, you know? In that case, okay, sure, it's on a tagline, it's a poster, so you got to have that on, you know, on the marquees and stuff, and it has to be, you know, neutral. You can't say epic as fuck on a poster outside of a movie theater when it's potentially right there next to Secret Life of Pets. You know what I'm saying? I get it, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it's stupid! And that's pretty damn presumptuous of yourselves to assume that this movie was going to be epic AF. Guess what? It's a pretty epic fail. That's for sure. Epic fail AF. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But here's the real clincher. It wasn't the fact that it didn't have Ron Perlman in it. That hurt. Ron Perlman is Hellboy. He just rocked it. I've never read a Hellboy comic before, and I've always been interested in doing so, especially after watching the first two movies. I came across one in Barnes & Noble not too long ago, and I really do enjoy the artwork and the style and the character aspects of Hellboy. And I felt that this movie did a decent enough job with the character in showing him, I guess you could say. But the Del Toro one did a far superior version. Just did. But like I said, it wasn't because there was no Ron Perlman. Actors come and go from roles. Batman is a great choice to show. Like, you went from Adam West to Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and now Robert Twilight. We'll see. I'll say this one. I had my doubts about Ben Affleck, but he turned out to be pretty good. So maybe Edward will do a good job too. We'll have to wait and see. But when I heard that it was going to be this guy being Hellboy, at first I was kind of, you're not Ron Perlman. But then I found out again, oh wait, it's the sheriff from Stranger Things. That show's really good. But at the time, I hadn't seen season 2 yet. So I was like, okay. But then I started watching season 2, and I saw him, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy could do it. This guy could very well be a really good Hellboy. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm down. Let's see what happens. But again, it wasn't because it was David Harbour. It was the makeup. It was the goddamn makeup for Hellboy. Now, I get the idea of making things more detailed and potentially bringing to life in a different way. But when the original version comes closer to the source material than this one does, you got problems. But disbanding that idea, it looks terrible. And I'll give it credit, it's consistent. It's terrible throughout the movie. It must have been like a budget cut or something, because the makeup on Hellboy is horrendous. And it seems to me like it might have been a Planet of the Apes situation, the remake, the Tim Burton reimagining. Because there must have been enough money to make the makeup and the special effects, but not enough to have David H. come in to ADR his lines, because it sounds like, yeah, you could tell he's trying to act through that teeth. and it's noticeable because you can hear it. And it's just so off-putting. And the makeup, it doesn't look like makeup. It doesn't look like they glued prosthetics to his face. It looks like a goddamn mask. A mask that you could buy at like Halloween Express for $5. Oh my god, it sucks so hard. And the speed of this movie is breakneck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going from beat to 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 beat. A half second to catch your breath every now and then, but then it just goes right into it. I can't say they try to sequel bait the hell out of this movie, with the exception of that small little bit at the very end. But guess what? This movie ain't getting no sequel. This movie was supposed to be a sequel. It was supposed to be Hellboy 3. They were setting up some really damn good, awesome shit in those first two movies. And then the ending of the second one was setting up all kinds of really strong sequel bait that I was looking forward to seeing. And then for reasons unknown to the movie going public without going deep into research or passive interest, that we don't get it. All I know is both Guillermo del Toro and Ron Perlman were fully on board for a third one. And as far as I know, Ron Perlman was fighting and debating and in talks with the studios to make Hellboy 3. But for reasons unknown, they fell through. And you know what? If it ended there, I'd be sad, I'd be bummed, but I would be happy. You know why? Because that would mean this piece of shit wouldn't have gotten made. I'll say one more thing. Because there's not much else to say. The characters are lame. There's a few interesting ideas. The pig monster thing was pretty cool in that it seemed like it was a really, really good combination, I think, of practical effects of a dude in a suit with some actual CGI work on the face, or the facial expressions. And I really couldn't tell where the CGI started and the puppetry began. And that is when it's good and how it should be done for stuff like this. But aside from that, when you make two movies in a series and they're PG-13, but they get away with a lot for PG-13, it shows to you that you don't need the blood, you don't need the gore to make it more awesome. This movie seems to be playing to the idea that, oh, look at all the blood, look at all the guts, look at the people being ripped apart, look at the tongue being ripped out of the priest and being eaten by the pig guy so he can speak holy words, which, wow, what a ridiculous and interestingly clever, but also sick and twisted, fucked up loophole to get through. This movie seems to think just because it has blood, it's gonna be better. No. This movie went the wrong way for something like this. When you take a series like, say, Alien or Predator, movies that started out R, but then they go PG-13, that's the wrong way to go. But when a movie series is showing that it can work very, very well without the blood and gore, still staying PG-13, but still being awesome, but then you go the R rating, and then you fuck that all up? Wow. I mean, wow. I can't really think of too many times where that's happened, and it came out good. I'm not counting the Alien vs. Predator shit. I'm not. You know why? Those movies are, like, fucked up and weird as it is. And by that, I really just mean Requiem. Requiem does suck. Requiem sucks because they were trying to do the same thing as this, but they were also trying to, like, go the extra limit, go the extra mile in being fucked up. Except this one kind of does a little bit better now that I think about it, only because they're dealing with hellacious shit. All I can say is this, because there's not much more I can say. This movie flopped hard in the theaters. I can't say box office. It does. I don't like that word. I'm sorry. This movie flopped hard, and for damn good reason. Sometimes when a movie flops, it's like, oh, that's a bummer. That's unfortunate. But what's more unfortunate? A bad movie making a lot of money, or a good movie flopping hard? It's kind of tossed. It's up in the air. It's 50-50, you know what I'm saying? But I will say this. When a bad movie flops hard, that's justice, baby. That's justice. I knew I was going to see this movie, so I'm not upset that I saw it. I'm only glad that I saw it just to satiate the curiosity. But man, that doesn't mean I don't still regret it a little bit. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to return this fucking thing to the fucking depths of hell from whence they came, or rather, Redbox, just in case. And I might just rewatch Godzilla King of the Monsters again. At least with that, that's a remake that makes some sense. Okay. That being said, don't see it. Maybe just go rewatch Godzilla again, like I really might just do, because I need something more pleasant than this. Maybe I'll just go finish off Dark Crystal. But until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.